for me, the way they balance their personal life with their actual, they're all working mothers, they've got children at home. I am amazed with their ability to get on the plane, can be in New York, back, and they've got a child's concert or something.
I think as you get older, you probably start to realise, to your point, Lisa, well, if I'm happy, it doesn't really matter. Like, that's all that matters, I suppose.
I was kind of happy that I said something, otherwise I would have sat back and just been like, okay, I'll take that for you.
I started work very young, so I was out in Dublin city centre working in a sandwich bar from the age of 15, and within a few months you're given the keys, you're told to lock up, you're cashing up, you're doing all of these things.
Work hard and, be kind to people, always be kind to people. But like that, yeah, definitely carry that throughout every day in my professional and personal life.
Thinking of the women who have influenced you, whether in your personal or professional life, what is one powerful lesson or trait they've passed down that you still carry with you today? So I suppose for me in my professional life, it would have to be my manager, Una Downey. I suppose her work ethic alone, I always looked up to, and I suppose the fact that she had belief in me gave me confidence as well in my role. The one thing I suppose that she taught me and that always sticks with me today is there's no such thing as a stupid question. And I think that I try to instill that as well into people. The other thing is, like, don't be afraid to say that you don't know something, and that, it's much better to say you don't know and learn from that than to actually just go along not understanding things. So I suppose that's my professional influence.
And me personally, I would probably say my mother. Cliche, just with growing up, she always taught me to be independent, work hard, and be kind to people. Always be kind to people. But like that, yeah, definitely carry that throughout every day in my professional and personal life as well. So.
I think we're quite lucky here in CluneTech. We have a lot of leading women, and it's great to be in an organisation with so many women in senior roles, leading in the helm, and that's across all of the businesses. And for me, the way they balance their personal life with their actual, they're all working mothers, they've got children at home. I am amazed with their ability to get on the plane, can be in New York, back, and they've got a child's concert or something. That is not an easy thing to do. And also as a mother, I know there's a lot of juggling in that. So I can't pick out one. There's a lot of inspiring women within CluneTech, and certainly, when we look at Sinead, Joanna, Catherine, Kate, here leading, and, we're blessed here also to have others around the table that are all in management roles.
I would agree as well. We are blessed to have so many women leaders in CluneTech, and they have such a fantastic influence on all of us, really. I think women bring a level of empathy to business as well. So they kind of are, I don't want to say better than men, but better than men. And the human factor, so encouraging people in general, but also with more of a human element to. I think that's the mothering kind of part of us that we bring. I've probably answered my question already. So.
No, absolutely, and I think throughout my career, I've had in finance, you do find a lot of women to a point in leadership, which is obviously great, and many bosses or managers that I've worked with have also had children, and prior to having children, I just didn't understand how they managed to get it done, and now I have one of my own. It you can see you make it happen whatever way it works for you, and everyone makes it work differently for them, and it might be caring for a child or caring for an elderly parent or whatever it is. You make it work in any way you can, and as you said, there's many examples of those women here in CluneTech, which is great.
And around the table as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when I open up this one, so in male-dominated industries, women often face distinct challenges. How have you navigated these spaces, and what guidance would you offer to women striving to thrive in similar environments? Well, I've worked in IT and cybersecurity in my life, and they're very much male dominated. I was at the recent cybersecurity conference in Kilkenny here, and they quoted there's about 25% of women in cybersecurity. I'm delighted that we've turned that on our head here in CluneTech. We have 75% of my team are women in cybersecurity. But I suppose it's not an easy area to get into, nor are a lot of the STEM roles either. And I suppose what would I say in trying to get into to other women and trying to get into those environments would be, it's really good to have a base foundation in IT, in cybersecurity. But you're very fortunate with Southeast College on your doorstep. They're running lots of courses in cybersecurity, and we've recruited through those. And some of our junior staff, women again, it's not being determined. I've looked for the best person for the role, but it's just through that recruitment that we've actually recruited young graduates that have an interest and with those skill sets. But I'll open it up now to anyone else that wants to add anything on that.
Yeah, I think in those kind of industries, and as I said, finance is there's a good balance in finance, but I think as you hit that top level and kind of in board meetings and things like that, that's where you see, not the same level of representation of females. And I guess I would say is if you're in that situation, not to be afraid to give your opinion, and I guess you'll kind of I would tend to revert to, an administrative role or, not say anything. But I think you have to have the self-confidence to be heard and be seen in those situations. Yeah, I
suppose concur with that. I know when I started out, a long time ago, and I would be sitting in project meetings and it's like, anybody for input, I have to talk to feel a bit outnumbered here. They'll think what I'm going to say is stupid, and I'll wait to the very end, and then they say, I'll have to say one more thing, and then I'll talk for half an hour about it. So, and I suppose it's trying to get that confidence, and I think it's a really good point, Amy, to say, don't be afraid to speak up. And again, like what Ellen was saying, nothing's a stupid question. It's probably what someone else is thinking.
Exactly, that's it. A lot of the time, it's a question that someone else is thinking, and they might be afraid to ask it. And I think I was probably that person back in the day when I started, that you were so nervous to ask a question. And I think that's the one thing that stood with me throughout my time at CluneTech is definitely like, there is no stupid question, but it's purely down to confidence. And as Amy said, having that confidence, I suppose, to speak up.
I think women are getting better, and the younger generation, my daughters, they wouldn't lack confidence the way we might have lacked confidence when I was a teenager or going into the workforce initially. I think there was kind of, everything was more kind of male dominated, and we were coming from a generation of mothers that they weren't working mothers, and so we didn't see it, so we had to learn it, and so it was more difficult, I think, in our generation. Now I'm a good bit older than some of the panel, but in my generation, I think initially confidence was an issue because you didn't have it, and if you didn't have a voice, you didn't have an opinion, nobody heard you. I think it's getting easier for women now because we are more likely to kind of speak up and offer opinion, and we have kind of intelligent things to say, we have good opinion, we have excellent suggestions, so, but it's just kind of getting it out there, and I think women are definitely getting better at doing that.
And I think for me, I think while COVID had many negatives, I think it possibly was a positive, because I definitely think it felt a bit easier to speak when you weren't in a room, that, you were online, and you probably spoke up that bit more than if you were sitting in front of somebody. I think that kind of might have given some people confidence as well, that they didn't have, I suppose, previously.
Very good. Okay, on to the next one. So, reflecting on your career journey, what moments have shaped you the most, and how did they contribute to your growth? I guess when I think of that, starting out, you think your career journey is going to go like this, and it's all going to be magical and amazing as long as you work hard. But unfortunately, hard work isn't the only thing that progresses you to the next level. It's making sure you're seen and making sure you're heard, which is we've just been talking about. And so when I think of the moments in my career, it's probably those moments of disappointment, or we haven't got the role, or you've got bad feedback, or I think that makes you reflect on what you've done now. It's not easy at the time, but I think when I look back, I'm kind of going, well, that's the time when something changed for me, or I made a decision to do something else, or an opportunity came around. So I guess, always look for those opportunities and always say yes, even if you're not sure. And I think, again, that probably comes back to the underlying theme of confidence, and the confidence to say yes. And I think that's kind of what's put me on a path in my career. And listen, my career hasn't gone from one amazing thing to the next amazing thing. It's gone sideways for a little bit. And then, different things happen in life. So you might just take a pause and be happy with that. I also think you need to kind of make your priorities. And, it's okay for your family to be your priority at a point in time. Your career might then be a priority at another point in time. It just depends. And, I think sometimes you compare yourself to somebody else and say, oh, I should be, the next CFO or CEO by now, considering my age. But I think it matters, as long as you're kind of happy, that you've got your career to a point, and that, your other priorities have been dealt with as well. So I think I've talked enough on that.
I concur with that. I think it's about getting that balance. You're going to have different moments in your life when, you'll have children, you'll have elderly parents, and some of those are going to take more of your time than what, and it's very important that, I suppose, you've got a role that you enjoy, you're happy in your career, but that equally you're not neglecting your family level. And so, but if you compare that to somebody else, they may not have children, they may have made those decisions and they've become career focused, and and they want to get there. But I suppose it's horses for courses. No one person is the same. Life will throw different challenges that, will make you have to change, or, and you might set out something, but I think life works in mysterious ways, and you'll end up where you want to be. And it's about, I think, happiness is a lot of the, mental health and having that balance, very important, I think, in the work and life.
And your first point when you started off to answer the question, talking about, putting yourself forward and putting yourself in things that you might not feel so comfortable about, so I don't particularly like to travel, but I travel all the time, and it's part of the role. I would say I don't particularly like to present, but now I'm presenting all the time. And I say I don't like it, but actually, but it's these things that, that you probably didn't realize you would enjoy or you would like. And, and it's just kind of putting yourself out there and changing and adapting a little bit and just getting it done. And I think another thing that helped me just in my career in general was, just understanding the challenges of the people that I'm working with. So that was, for me to progress in this role at all, just when I started here, I was managing a small audit team, an on-site audit team that went on site and picked staples out of invoices and, photocopied things. And I would have to schedule them on these audits and understand why they might run over by 2 days and things like that. So I thought, right, well, I'm just going to book myself on all of these audits. And I hated flying, and I had young children, and I was, so you're trying to juggle it, but you still want to understand what's going on. Yeah. And so that just allowed me to kind of understand. And, but I had to kind of push myself to do that. And so then from that, I've always said, right, if I don't understand the weeds of it, then how can I manage it, or how can I lead it, or, so you have to get into the weeds of it and understand the challenges that people have. And that might mean that you have to do something that you don't particularly like to do, but I think if you push yourself in that direction.
But I think that achievement of doing what you're not comfortable with, that's what gives you the confidence to become who you are, I suppose, and particularly in your work environment progresses when, you're not really comfortable with doing something and then you achieve it. It's just that sense of achievement. It really gives you confidence.
Yeah. Last one. I think we probably answered all of these already. But throughout your professional life, what challenges have you faced that are unique to women in the workplace, and how did you navigate them to come out stronger? So unique to women, there's lots of things that are unique to women that create challenges in the workplace, I would say. So I think like too, the family situation is definitely, I mean, it's unique to family, right? But women do kind of take on a lot of the mental load in a situation. Even when like in my own personal life, my husband takes on most of the running around of the family, the doctor's appointments, things like that. He took a step back to be able to do that so that I could do the travel and everything that I do. But at the same time, I still take on a huge mental load of the family. I know when all the appointments are. I do the shopping list, I do the meal planning, I do all of these things, I do manage the finance, like all of the things. It's still a huge mental load, family load that women kind of take on. Maybe that's just some women, because some women are more controlling than others, but but it is. So family is a unique situation for women. Also the physical part of having a family, being pregnant. I mean, that has an impact. Some women sail through pregnancies, other women are really sick. Some women bounce back after pregnancy, other women don't. All of these things that might have an impact on your career and your working life. But I think as a manager and as a female manager, to have kind of empathy for other women that are going through those situations and allow them flexibility, and because they do bounce back, and they bounce back 10 times better and faster. And I think having family as well, as you were saying earlier, Margaret, seeing these women juggle these families and their careers, and how do they do it? And they come back stronger. They figure out how to do it, and they push themselves, and they're, just amazing. And then the other point, I think, and it's going away, and I think I was naive when I started my career. I never kind of noticed that there's a difference between men and women in the workplace, and so I never recognized it really in my career. I never really realized it until one incident where I realized that somebody that was reporting to me was actually earning more than me. And that was just the first. I was like, oh, why is this? This shouldn't be happening. And so, but it's just to have the conversation. And I think it comes from confidence as well, that we've all spoken about. Have the confidence to say, I think I deserve more because I do this, and why would I be paid less? And I think that is going away in the workforce, but it does exist. So I think that's unique to women. Men haven't had that challenge, So there are 2 points that are unique to women, I think. So over to you guys.
I think, well, because I've been around for a long time as well. I think culturally, a long time ago certainly in large corporates, there may have been like boys' network club, and not as so much of the women's network club. And it's very much at times I found jobs for the boys, not necessarily inward promotions for because they're in with this clique and whatever, whereas not really rewarded based on individuals' work commitment. And their skills. It may not have been best person for the job, but it's great to see that changing now. Not just across the industry, where it does become best person for the job, more representation, and certainly more CEOs and leadership, representation in women at boards, which I think is wonderful to see.
Yeah, I would agree with all those points as well. I guess I just have one small example of going into the boardroom again, and being new to the boardroom, and then being asked to take the minutes. And I think I was like, right, this is my opportunity to make a point here and say politely, maybe we could have turns at this, and this is my first time, contributing to the board meeting. Maybe I could do it next time. And I think they were kind of like, oh, okay, that's good. So I was kind of happy that I said something. Otherwise I would have sat back and just been like, okay, I'll do that for you. And I guess personally, I would tend to take on a bit of a mothering role, like, we've got a meeting now, are you ready? And, so I think sometimes you need to rein that in a little bit and, not mother so much.
Yeah, divide the responsibility.
Exactly.
Or the administration of a meeting.
I was going to say a point about I admire how women can, have families, have their children, and just go straight back to work. I think that's amazing. I don't have kids, so I just look up to that so much.
Well, if you get to the point of having them, you'll be glad to get back to work.
I would 100% agree with that point.
Yes. And now I understand why years ago my mother would be like, get back to school, midterm, get out of here.
Yeah.
So I have so much respect for women that can do it all and have their careers, and
Yeah, and it really does take a community, whether it's a family community or a creative community for yourself to do that. And I think there should be no misconception that is not that's not easy. It doesn't just come naturally.
You have to have a good support network
and
at home. Yeah,
100%.
it doesn't happen.
But it's even back
without it,
to Lisa's point of, I suppose, the mental capacity that you need to organize everything. Like, you're organizing yourself to get to work, you're organizing kids, so like you're doing all of that, I suppose, on top of trying to get through your daily life, you know, and just the normal things. It's planning getting back to school, planning your childcare, trying to organize all of those things.
Yeah, but does it give you natural then kind of leadership skills? Because if you're like, right,
It gives you
you-
multitasking skills.
if I can do this for this little army,
Yeah.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it actually makes you more efficient at work.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I used to do with my time before kids, but now, you know, I have 9
You
to
have
5
to.
and I have to go. So I have to be very efficient at how I get things done here to get it done, you know? And so I think you know, maybe mothers returning from work, you're super efficient because, you know, you've only got a certain time frame. It's not like, oh, I can log in at 9 o'clock at night to get it done. You can't really. And so I think
No
that's
time
one of our
for-
strengths.
No,
Procrastination.
it's your second job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
You'd only
brings
love
a-
a bit of procrastination.
yeah, it brings a new set of skills, I think, as well. But it allows you as well to, at that 5 o'clock, that's it. You don't have any more time to think about this job because you've got to go on to this job. So it actually is good for stress management. You know, you're not sitting around in the evening going, "Oh, I didn't send that email," or because you have no room in your head for those kind of things now because you're on to the
switch off.
next
Yeah.
thing. So it kind of does help you manage the stress of a busy working life as well. It's kind of a funny one, you know, because it adds stress, but then kind of
It can
takes
take it
bits
away
away
as
as
well.
well.
I think you make decisions quicker as well. Like, you're quite efficient with your decision making. You don't. I would before kids, I would have agonized over, is this the right way to go? And I would have researched. Now I don't have time. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, there's the answer. Done. Move on. You know, I don't have time as much time to agonize over those things, and it probably comes to your stress management point. So.
Okay, so I have a group question for the table. Society often places timelines on women's professional and personal milestones. How do you view this pressure, and what advice would you give to women who feel constrained by these expectations?
We probably touched on it earlier,
Yeah.
didn't we, when we were saying, like, there isn't one path for, you know, just because so-and-so is, you know, CFO or whatever by a certain mean. Like, you know, there may be the expectations, but I think it's about, there'll be different events that will come in your life that will actually change your career, maybe change what time you take up your college. We were chatting earlier, you went back to college in your 20s, I went back in my 40s, you know. It's, it doesn't, you know, you can't, I don't think you should be setting an expectation. It's great to have goals and a career path of what you want to achieve. But don't go down the road of comparing yourself to somebody else. You don't know what's going on in their life. They don't know what's going on in yours. And it's about getting that happy balance. And once you're happy with that, I think that means a lot. You know, at the end of the day, that's what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I think you just have your personal goal, you know, and if you're happy with how you're getting on, so what does it matter about anything else?
I think that's it. It's about your happiness. And, you know, like, I'm not married, I don't have children, but I don't feel pressure either. You know, I don't feel that by a certain age you have to. You know, and I think that maybe social media probably influences younger people a little bit today because they do see an awful lot on that, which might make them feel, I need to be at this stage now because I'm that age, or I should be getting married, or whatever it is. But I think as you get older, you probably start to realise, to your point, Lisa, well, if I'm happy, it doesn't really matter. Like, that's all that matters, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think you're right with the influencers and this impression of a perfect world.
Yeah.
But it can be just fake news. Really.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like not really the reality. Take off the makeup of the camera, and then really behind the scenes, they're probably like knee deep in dirty nappies and whatnot. You know,
or if I manifest it, it'll come through. Like,
I think perfection is just not a reality.
Yeah.
So I think some days it's just going to be good enough, and sometimes good enough just gets you through the day. And I think that's okay as long as you reset and you go, okay, what are my priorities? Just look inward. Don't
Yeah.
worry about what everyone else is thinking.
Exactly, and that's exactly it's the what you said, Margaret. Not comparing yourself to others because everyone's completely different, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in as well, what's for you won't pass you. So like if there's an opportunity or if there's a challenge in work, like definitely it's meant to, I suppose, teach you and you learn from it, and then if you overcome it, happy days, like you feel like you've accomplished it. But
Who's taking the other question?
I'll take it. Okay, next question for the table. If you could go back and speak to your younger self, now with the wisdom you've gained through your career in life, what is the one thing you would say to her? So, reflecting on your younger self, what advice would you give?
I just think just stop being afraid of everything. But I think
You can do it.
You can do it. You're grand. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because I started work very young. So I was out in Dublin City Centre working in a sandwich bar from the age of 15, and within a few months you're given the keys, you're told to lock up, you're cashing up, you're doing all of these things. And I just spent my whole life in a panic that I wasn't able to do it, but constantly being able to do it, you know, that kind of way. So actually I'm probably still like that today, but just, you know, have a word at yourself a little bit that you can do it. You're amazing and you can do it. Just keep pushing yourself and working hard, and, you know, and you'll get there. And, you know, that's it. I would just tell my younger self to relax.
Yeah.
I think and everybody has to start from somewhere. No one went into a job knowing everything. We are still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Like regulation is changing, technology is changing. You will never know bloody everything because something is always changing. And I think when you start in the workplace, and everybody, when I started off, it was in banking, and I thought, oh my God, everybody like knows everything. I know nothing. I'm, you know, real lack of confidence, and you're questioning yourselves. And then it's only through time that you actually see, you know, you're always evolving, you're always learning, you're always developing. Believe in yourself, speak up, and, you know, as we said earlier, no question stupid. Ask it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd say to my younger self not to worry about all the things that might happen. You know, just deal with what's in front of you, and the rest will come. You know, I think sometimes you can get into a bit of a panic about what happens next and next. I think if you just bring it back to just deal with what's in front of you. If you have a high level plan, grand, and then just work with it step by step. I think.
Yeah.
I think wisdom is wonderful as well, because I think as you get older, you actually look back and it was like, to your point, like, why were we sweating the small stuff? And I think that would be the thing that I'd say to myself as well, like, have more confidence in yourself to actually achieve what you want to achieve. But to, I think, both of your points, like, you'd be sweating the small stuff and worrying about like things that hadn't even happened or like what might happen, and it was all pointless.
I think that's a really good point, because like in our role here, like, people are worried, or they could be worried to say, oh, I clicked on a phishing link, or I sent something to the wrong person. And they're probably tying themselves up in knots.
Yeah.
And just say it, because you're not going to get told off. You know, people are here to help you and support you and to help fix it up. But I know years ago, if you just clicked one thing wrong or done wrong, you'd be in a panic and wouldn't sleep for the night thinking about that. So I think you're just worried to ask for help as well, because you think, oh my God, that looks like I don't know what I'm doing.
Failing.
Yeah, you're failing. And there isn't. Like, everybody needs support, and that's what your managers are there for, to give you that support. Yeah.
And the majority of people that I've come across in my career are nice people and normal people, and, you know, are there to help. I've come across very few people that are out to get you, you know, like people are very nice. Even all of the clients that we deal with, even in the biggest of dramas, you know, they're normal, nice people, you know. So I think as well, we talk a lot about imposter syndrome and that this feeling that you don't belong, or, you know, that they know more than you, or, you know, but that's not the case. You know, that's not the case. Most people are just like you, and have the same concerns as you and the same worries as you. So, yeah. Again, if I would bring it back to my younger self, I'd say just chill, just relax, you're grand.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Happy International Women's Day.